we can say definitively that religions are all bullshit.
Welcome to Brainstorm.
We have the explicit tag for a reason.
This is a base level argument to a higher level morality.
I get paid to science?
Two science as much as one can science.
What the hell was my point?
Trigger warning. The Brainstorm podcast will criticize your most cherished beliefs. We attack nonsense in all its forms and discuss difficult subjects. If you peddle pseudoscience, supernatural woo, or religious dogma, then this is not your safe place. This is the home of hardcore skepticism.
Hi, and welcome to the Brainstorm podcast Skeptics Studio, where we do interviews. Okay, the sound is weird.
Oh, it must be coming through Will.
Oh.
Let me put my headphones on then. I was worried that might happen.
Echo.
Let me start that
Here, I'm going to
again.
put you guys on mute for just a second, so don't ask me any questions.
Okay.
What did you say, Will?
Let's try that again. Hi, and welcome to the Brainstorm podcast Skeptic Studio, where we do interviews, discuss major topics and news related to skepticism and atheism. I'm Angela, and our panel tonight is Lisa.
Hello.
Renee.
Hello.
Guest host Basit.
Oh, stop it.
And, of course, Corey is here.
Yes, I am.
And the incessantly incredible Dave doing sound.
Incessantly incredible.
I love
Incessantly
that.
incredible?
Incessantly incredible.
As long as he's not like
That's a different
incestuously incredible.
alliteration.
Because it's always amazing. I was like, let's do something else. Incessantly amazing and incredible.
You're
Dave on
amazing,
sound.
Angela.
Thanks. We're here in Roman Empire Studios in Regina, Saskatchewan, and today is August 18th, 2017. Tonight we have a special guest, our listener and number one patron, Will D.
Woo!
Hey,
Thank you for joining us, Will. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
How does it feel to be with us in this capacity as opposed to just listening to us?
It's kind of cool to see the people. Honestly, there are so many hosts here, it's hard to keep track of who's who.
Really?
Yeah, I constantly mix you up with Corey.
Fair enough.
Interesting. Well, so I guess our notes, we got some questions for you here, and
Okay.
the first question is, who the fuck is this guy? we want to know about our number one patron.
I am Will.
Hey, that's a good start.
I mean, the bio I always shoot out to everything is, father, programmer, lazy person who reads a lot, video games, and happily married as long as she can deal with me. Yeah.
Nice.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
That sounds.
I've started doing volunteer work and stuff, but until recently, it was just that.
That sounds pretty like you're being kept busy.
Yeah. Yeah, only a lot. Oh, no, wait, that's a lie. My children are now old enough that they do a lot of that stuff themselves.
Oh, like
How
so
old,
they're.
how old are your kids?
So I've got a, every time someone asks me that question, I stumble. It's
Blancoed.
Just do the math.
I think
Just
it's
do the math,
9,
man.
10, and 11, or 8, 10, and
nice.
11. I think it's 8, 10, and 11.
And you
Yeah.
still have all your hair?
Yeah.
That's
it's short,
impressive.
yeah.
It's thick. I don't see any thinning happening at all.
No.
I'm
You know
jealous.
what? We made them as independent as possible and then made them do our work for us. So it's been easy.
Oh, yes. That is the ticket right there.
Yes.
Yeah. The only problem is the 11-year-old is starting to get real belligerent.
Yeah, they do that.
I taught him to think for himself.
No.
He asks questions.
That was a
It's
mistake.
terrible.
You have no one to blame but yourself.
I know.
Oh, man. So they do dishes, they clean their rooms, and you just play video games and
Well,
read?
cleaning their rooms is a stretch,
Okay.
but they do dishes.
Yeah, that's good.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, no,
That
that's
is
the way to do
brilliant.
it.
That is so.
It's-
How? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, having them, I'm kind of a half glass full, but prepare for everything to crash anyway kind of guy. So since the very beginning, I pushed them to their absolute limits mentally and physically so that if something were to happen, like, I don't know, zombie apocalypse and I'm the first one to go, they can survive,
Right. So you're one of those dads who just throws their baby in the ocean there and expects them to learn to swim?
I planned to, but my wife said she would kill me.
You've got to take that stuff seriously.
Yeah. But I really, really do. But no, as soon as they could crawl, that I taught them how to climb up and down stairs and things like that. Dangerous stuff that could kill them. I taught them how to do so that they would be less likely to die by accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. My chest gets all tight thinking about that.
But it also has the advantage of...
I do rock climbing and things
Oh my
sometimes,
goodness.
and I wanted them to join me, so I had to teach them that too.
Yes.
And if they're going to climb rocks, then stairs are no big deal.
I've seen like veritable babies climbing those climbing walls, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, I have a friend who his baby used to crawl up to the top of the cupboards. Like 2 years old, used to crawl right up to the top of the cupboards in the kitchen. Yeah.
Wow.
It's creepy. It's freaky, yeah.
My oldest, when he was maybe 1.5, he ended up pushing a dining chair over to the counters so he could climb on the counters and get into the cabinets.
Smart little monkey.
That's very innovative for that age. That's impressive. That is so impressive. So how did you come to listen to Brainstorm podcast?
I was going through my the stages of leaving religion where you've left, right? And you're really pissed off because you think everyone lied to you for your whole life.
Totally.
So I'm in kitchens and all the rougher people, Raw, which I still love and listen to.
Yes.
And on No Religion Required, you guys showed up there one day and sounded really interesting. I'm pretty sure it was that one. You look a little like you don't remember that show, but
I was on that show to promote our conference.
Yes. So that was it then. No Religion Required, and I followed you from there. And that's how I became a patron, because you did a conference when you're just like me, just a guy trying to do something. And I was like, well, that guy needs help.
Well, we greatly appreciate it.
We all say that about Corey all the time, actually.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Is there a cure for chiladas? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's called tequila.
Sorry, Corey. We're so mean. Oh, it's mean. Don't say mean, I mean. I bug Corey because he takes it well. Anyways.
That's a cool story. That was a fun conference. And it was.
I wish I could have been there, but you guys are a long way from here.
Yeah.
We're a long way from anywhere.
You know what? My boss, I was telling him, he asked, what time am I on? I said 10:30, and he goes, wow, where are they at? And I said, Saskatchewan. And they go, where's Saskatchewan? And I said, it's in province. He's in Regina. And he goes, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
People
like you were
say that.
saying vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we had to look it all up.
When we call American tech support, we get that way. Are you calling from Regina? We get a lot of.
That's the
We get
correct
a
way
lot
to
of
say
that.
it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just call us Norther Dakota, right? Like it's about,
Northern Dakota. Yeah.
it's about right.
Yes. When I was in Atlanta back in '96, and we told people where we were from, we got a lot of weird looks.
Yeah.
You're from where?
Well, there's a church on every corner, so saying anything related to genitals is probably going to get you some weird looks.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody said
we were there for Jesus. So.
Right.
Oh, no.
But I'm surprised nobody said to you, well, isn't everyone from a vagina? Like, I mean, isn't that like a common
This is where it began.
That's the standard answer, I guess.
Like, that's a little obvious.
We're the origin of species.
We mean geographically, not like...
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
We're Galapagos Island.
Gotta keep going with the vagina
Komodo
joke.
dragons. I love Komodo dragons.
Did y'all know that book is on it's free audiobook?
What is?
The Origin of Species. Some organization is doing a bunch of the really old books as free audiobooks.
Nice.
And it's on
Cool.
YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and do Origin of Species, free audiobook.
Have you listened to it?
I've listened to the first 4 chapters.
Is it any good? Or is it pretty dry? It's
pretty
pretty dry,
dry.
right?
It's a little dry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little dry.
I would have imagined a 19th century scientific text would be very dry.
Does Sir Richard Attenborough read it? Is it,
No.
Is it Patrick Stewart? Is it Patrick Stewart?
is it Richard or David?
Honestly, it sounds like a freshman intern.
Oh no!
Some poor kid.
Yeah.
I-
And you know what? I grabbed a couple of the books, or they put a link to their website on the YouTube, so I went to the site and I grabbed a couple of the books, and it's always the same lady. I feel so bad. It's like it sounds very much like she hates what she's doing. It's good. It's good work. So
That's awesome.
Okay.
That is fantastic. I want to hear more about your journey to atheism. Do you want to talk about that a bit?
yeah. I will talk about pretty much anything. Be careful
Sweet.
what you ask.
Let's do this,
other than
man.
Proprietary stuff from work. I've been cleared for anything. So
Ooh.
yeah. But I started out with. I was raised a cultural Christian, I guess you could say, and so I was told, "I'm a Christian. Jesus died for you." Maybe I think I was told that, but it was definitely Christian. And then I moved down here, and my parents were split, so I moved down here with my dad, and he was like, "We're going to church, Christianity, Baptist." If you know anything about them, they're not the most flexible group.
Right.
Yeah.
Where were you from? Where were you from before Atlanta?
Illinois. Illinois, St. Louis,
Okay.
Illinois. Yeah, so corn-fed, but
Nice.
so we moved from there, and I got a good bit of religiosity there. Then religious problems with the family, so no religion again. Got a girl pregnant, and decided I obviously don't have the morals to do teaching kids morals. Jump back to religion, and I became extremely fundamentalist, literalist.
Oh, wow.
And I stayed that way for a couple of years, under the premise that yes, there's crazy shit in here in the Bible, but if God wrote it, it has to be right. You know, no matter how crazy it seems. And then I met a woman. Well, I'm sorry, the woman I knocked up. We hooked up, we got together again, and ended up married. By the way, hey, Dorena,
Nice.
come here.
Telling stories. Better get in here.
Yeah, she's the single greatest human being I know, and the nicest, kindest, close to perfect person there is.
Nice. That's high praise. Great.
And she's not exactly straight, so that's a real big problem if you're a Bible literalist.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm a very analytical person, so I went into the Bible for a good month or so, delving, Greek, Latin, as deep as I could get to prove her wrong, and in the end,
That didn't work.
changed her mind. So I had to deal with, is she evil or is this wrong? And it was the gateway to changing everything I believed about the world. And it was a really great thing. So thank you.
The
And
gateway
she's
to
not
atheism.
She's running away now.
Bye, Greta.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
I got out, and then being so deeply in, I was so betrayed, and I was just enraged. So I spent the last couple of years going as deep into, humanism and atheism and non-religion and all of that stuff as I could, and I finally calmed down.
Nice.
It takes a while, doesn't it? To kind
Yeah, it took me a while to realize that people weren't lying to me. They were as deceived as I was.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, it takes a really long time to get over that one, I think.
Yeah. I think I still have my moments.
Well, some people might be lying. I
Yeah.
feel like there's some elders in the Mormon church who totally know this is all
Yeah.
bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I feel
How
like
can
there's.
Mormons not know?
I feel like they know.
Like,
Some
really,
Mormons must know.
I kind of feel like Mormons not
I'm picking on Mormons, but I think I would imagine there are some cynic atheists high up in every religion. Who
I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
exploit it.
What is it? That group that Dan Barker created.
The Clergy Project.
Yes, Clergy Project.
Yes.
They've got a couple of hundred clergy people in there.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
right.
assume that's not a group that normally sees atheism, so it must be rampant.
Yeah.
How can you not go through seminary school and not seriously question the validity of these claims?
Yeah. So many of the people we talk to, that is where it comes from. Like oh, well, I did all this looking into it and I learned all this stuff from religious school. And
So you go to seminary school, you learn all there is to know about semen, and you become an atheist? Is that how that works?
I actually was in Calvary Chapel.
Nobody ever wants to answer my questions.
Better left finished.
Will's just smiling and looking up. For those of our listeners that wonder what's going on here.
And right now he's regretting agreeing to go.
There is a bit of a curve that y'all know each other super well. But
you're doing amazingly well.
Yeah. You know what? It's the shot of vodka, shot of amaretto, and 12 ounces.
That's the trick. That is the trick. Yep.
Helps out a lot.
Makes all the difference.
Yeah, you know what? The hard problems for me, though, getting out of religion, I didn't have a bad experience. You know? I was in I left a Baptist church initially just because I moved, but I was going through troubles, which is something religion is really good with, coming together when you're having problems.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. And I left there and went to a Calvary Chapel, which was wonderful. The people were amazing, just tiny church, wonderful, happy, kind, huggy, free food people, because this is the South, free
Those
food.
are the best kind of people.
Yeah, right? Hell, they bought tires for my car when I couldn't afford tires to get to and from work.
Wow.
Right.
Great. So it was hard to leave. But, they're still good people, I guess.
Do you still communicate with people that are still pretty hardcore religious?
No. Sadly. The only people I communicate with that are hardcore religious I work with.
Okay.
The rest of them, I try to talk to them, but it's always, let's bring you back in,
Okay.
The last church I was in, they were grooming me to move up. Probably because I've, been a manager and whatnot, and I can handle people, and I'm not afraid to do work, so... But it's hard to stay there if you don't believe there's a God and you're being honest.
Yeah, that would make it tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
That's a definite deal breaker.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, I suppose, but I guess for some people it kind of isn't, right? Like there must be some people who stay in it for that community, that sense of.
But if you want to be honest, I mean.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
It's hard out here. I don't know how it is in Regina, but out here, because I know y'all are like half Catholic, half not, but out here it's so deeply ingrained in everything. It's not, hey, where do you work? How's your wife? It's what church do you go to?
Right.
Yeah.
You don't even get a hello. You meet someone on the street. It's, oh, hey, what church do you go to?
Wow.
It's like, it's really deep out here.
In your face.
Yeah.
So do you not have non-Christian people? Like, are they asking Muslims what mosque do you go to? Like, are they asking Hindus what temple do you go to? Like, I don't know. Like, is it there's no brown people in Atlanta?
Actually, I just recently moved to Atlanta proper, the actual city of Atlanta.
Okay.
I was in Paulding County, which is a neighboring county. It's basically trees. It was legitimately, there are 2 towns in the entire county. It's one of the largest counties in the state, and there were 2 towns.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. So there are no mosques and there are no temples. There are Catholic, Methodist, Baptist churches, and 1 Calvary Chapel.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. But down here in actual Atlanta proper, it's much more urban. There's an atheist who lives near me. I work with a Hindu person. There's obviously Christians of all stripes.
Right.
Muslims near me because I've got people from all over the world nearby, which is amazing. I'm never going back to the country. Ever.
Yeah, that's right.
It has its perks, but it's nice to be around people.
I noticed that, actually. I mean, Weyburn is a small town. And Regina's not a metropolis by any stretch, but moving from Weyburn to Regina, there's a distinct increase in diversity.
Yeah.
And you can hear other languages at the grocery store, and you can see people of different cultural backgrounds, and it's from my perspective, it's refreshing. But I know that not everybody seems to get that way. But
1 out of 5 people here is not like the other.
I was actually doing some demographic stuff earlier today, just because it came up in my scrolling around on the internet doing whatever, and noticed where I used to live in Illinois, it's 94% white, 5% black, and everything else says 0. So whatever that 1% is, it's not noted.
Wow.
And Pauline is about the same. Actually, it may have been 20% black. Yeah.
So Canada has a lot of immigration. So most urban centers, even if you want to stretch it and call Regina an urban center, have a lot of immigrants. So I grew up in Calgary. I grew up in a in the more culturally diverse part of Calgary. So I mean, it's, I was a minority in my school for sure, like growing up. So that's a foreign way to grow up to me. It's weird.
Now, when I saw you come across the camera, because for people who are just on the podcast, there is a camera, and you
yes,
pretty
freaky.
I think he was talking to me, but saw you.
No, I thought. Oh, whatever.
No, she was able to block your head. It's okay.
It's pretty big, huh?
Okay, this is like an angular thing. Okay, I'm closer to the camera. The angular size of my head's gonna be bigger. Okay,
that's okay.
Now she's self-conscious about it.
There's nothing wrong with
it's like
your
a globular
head,
cluster that's closer to us will look bigger than one that's farther away. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
It's okay. Your hair looked nice and it was closer, so that works out well. One of the only people on the podcast who had a hair.
I do have a big head, actually. It's true. I can't find hats. Anyways.
Shop in the men's section. We have very large hats.
Yeah.
Just don't get one of those MRA hats.
MRA?
What's an MRA hat?
Oh, men's right activist
They have their own hats?
Wait, what?
I didn't know they had their own hats.
Those little fedora things. The short rimmed.
Oh,
yes, just
like
don't
those nice guy
fedora.
finished last hats? Or?
Yeah.
They ain't never gonna get laid hat. Like
Men going our own way. To really be an MRA, you have to swear off women completely.
I'll treat you right.
For a second, I thought you were make America great again joke.
That is a good hat too. Yeah. It's a good hat.
What were you saying, Will?
There's only one guy that swears off women altogether, and I don't think most of them are MRAs.
Yes, that's a different.
That's a different
subculture.
Category,
Yeah,
it's a different group.
they're just into dudes,
Yeah.
and that is fine.
It's fine to not ever want to not choose not to sleep with women if you're straight. I mean, that's fine. I don't care. It's just whatever.
It's your choice.
Just find it weird.
Yeah.
I guess whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I would think as someone who enjoys sex, choosing not to sleep with someone would be strange.
Yeah, the reasons behind it are weird for the MRAs. Like it's very like.
Women are the enemy.
There's like a group with that. They don't even like masturbate. Like they're completely 100% celibate.
But then,
how could you do that?
I don't know.
But why? Well, priests are supposed to live like that, right? I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. I don't ask them if that's what they do, but I assume
the
they
obvious
don't.
joke would be that I'm pretty sure a lot of them are banned from a lot of different places. You cannot go near playgrounds.
Essentially, they're just all liars.
What is it? Daryl Ray says there was a survey done, and 95% of people, or what was it? 3% of men say they masturbate, and 97% lie.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Oh God.
Make a price.
I have only ever actually met one person who said, I don't do that.
Who?
A guy I worked with a few years ago, he just flat out said, like, oh, I don't do that. I'm like, okay, dude, I'm not going to say you're a liar, but I don't believe you.
Yeah, but all the livestock on his house is like are really, really nervous.
Does he consider his hand like a not part of himself? So I don't actually do it.
He sits on his hand
that's
until he can't feel it.
Maybe he just gets
The stranger.
laid. The stranger. He gets laid a lot. Maybe he's just like on Grindr like all the time or something. I don't know. Like maybe it's just
Yeah.
Maybe,
I mean, you
maybe.
need to masturbate if you do it enough.
Yeah,
I'm just
well,
saying.
that's fair.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
fair.
postulating.
Maybe he just gets off remotely by watching things like Murder, She Wrote or something like that.
Maybe he has a flaccid penis.
That's a pretty specific fetish.
I don't know. Corey Angela Lansbury was pretty hot back in her day.
Would you invite him to be on the show, Corey, so we could ask him about this? We'd like to know.
No, I would not.
Oh.
This is called the good old fashioned brainstorm train derailment.
Yes.
We're
right off the rails.
We're
talking about
brainstorming his
masturbation.
alternative masturbation
Yes,
techniques.
it's true.
We're
Thanks for bringing
brainstorming.
it back home.
You're welcome.
As a fan, talking as a fan, derailments are the best part. How could you spend 3 hours on a show in a room with friends and not go off the wall?
Yeah, you got to go just kind of wherever the conversation goes. Right?
To masturbation. Sure.
Every
Always
time.
goes there.
Every
It
time.
goes
Yes.
It never
It's
fails.
something dirty. It's always something dirty.
That's just what we do.
Yeah, exactly. So, does
But
anyone...
I'm just saying we talk about it. That's all I'm saying. We don't.
So Will, what, like you said, you're into video games and programming and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know. Can you tell us what you program, or do you have to kill us first? Or after?
Afterwards. Why would I tell you if you're dead?
Can you tell our dead bodies?
They'll hack your life.
I could, but that's.
Do you have to kill us
efficiency. It's what we do.
Okay, so tell us, then kill us, please. With your drones or whatever it is you do.
That'll work. No, actually, so I went to school for management. Management sucks ass. And I found programming, and that doesn't. So I switched and learned back-end programming, did freelance work there. Finding customers sucked, so I got a job, and the first place to hire me was a front-end place. By the way, if anyone doesn't know what any of that meant, back-end people make stuff work. Front-end people make the pictures you see on a website.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I was starting to go to a dirty place when you said back end.
Yeah, management
Like,
sucked
wait.
ass, and then he went in the back end. Is what happened. I just want to recap, everyone.
Set up and a knockdown.
What I tell her is I make when you go online and you get on, I don't know, Spreaker, you see how it works and all that, and you see all the pictures and the buttons and all that stuff, right? I build all of that. But as soon as you click something, that's someone else's job.
Okay.
So how are you enjoying the front end now?
I have always preferred front end, honestly.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, I don't know how you guys can take that seriously.
I'm trying not to smirk.
I've always been a back end kind of guy, but
So you like to make things look pretty,
especially in the front end.
and the front part of the end.
Starts pretty. If we're going with the person off screen, there's interpretation. Actually, the biggest difference between the two is how long it takes you to see the work you're doing. When you do the back end stuff, all the logic and whatnot, it might take you 3 months to make something actually do something.
Right.
I don't have that kind of patience. I do something in 30 seconds and I see a change.
Nice.
I'm just too lazy to wait or impatient to wait.
Instant gratification programming.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. My wife has worked with me quite a while to get away from instant gratification.
You said, okay.
No back end.
Started back end work, but
It's interesting. You have to.
Don't think about it. Don't think about it. No.
Calculating the logistics.
Yeah. You have to. Yeah, it does take some time to get. Yep.
And you're a gamer too?
A little bit, a lot more before I had kids and jobs and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I've been into Guild Wars 2 lately. I've always been an MMO, massive multiplayer online game.
Yes. Yeah.
So World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, that sort of thing. Lotro, Lord of the Rings. But Guild Wars is almost free and way better than Lotro. So graphics are better, story is better. Yeah.
Cool.
The dead silence of people who don't really play games. So like, yeah.
I actually game quite a bit. It's just not Guild Wars, man. I Overwatch and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I've never been really into the MMO stuff.
No? I respect it, though.
I
But yeah.
played a little bit of Star Trek Online, but that was about it.
I don't know, man. Every time I go on Star Trek Online, as soon as I see any sort of like Mandarin on there, I scoop. Like it's impossible for me at that point.
That's I have that problem periodically with Guild Wars. Well, no, like you keep all over the world, and it's like, is this an English-speaking guild? Are you English-speaking people? I can only speak English. Still true. I can only speak English. You know, I speak 4 languages, and only one of them is verbal. The rest are code.
Yeah.
What are the coding languages?
Java, C#, and if you count them as, and I don't know who your listeners are, but if they're programmers, if you count them as languages, the HTML, AngularJS, JavaScript, CSS, that sort of stuff.
And how good are you at learning a new language? Like if somebody was like, here, code this all in Fortran, what would you do?
Shit myself. I would figure, depending on how much they paid me, I would give them an estimate on time and figure it out. Just like I did for HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
Right.
You know, yeah. That's kind of a thing you have to do in programming. I mean, I'm in an industry where I'm seeing automation taking over things, and I'm in an industry where people are actually working on said automation.
Oh,
so I've got a real insight into who's going to be unemployed in the next 10 years. I am learning.
Exactly.
The whole world.
You know, Will, I work in a bank. I'm not. Yeah. so I can slowly see this shift happening, and you know, at least my job, I don't think in my generation it's going to go anywhere. But there's definitely scare for it because I think that I'm doing a good job here, but a computer could probably do this without any errors.
It's the way they say it is if you do the same task over and over, right? Or it's the same series of tasks. You make the same steps over and over again to complete a task, right? Mm-hmm. That task can be automated. And if you do tasks like that for your entire job, your job is replaceable with a machine. Maybe not yet, but one day.
My job is totally replaceable.
And that's scary. Like, if it were to ever happen, I don't know what I'd do. Like, I'm right now trying to learn the basics of coding.
Oh, you've got time. I mean, unless you're a bank
Will.
teller.
I appreciate it.
Unless you're a bank teller, you have time. A banker, accountants are next on the list. So not accountants, but bankers and everyone who's above the teller, there's time there. Maybe 5, 10, 15 years.
But in the limit, right? Like everyone's job is replaceable. I mean, I'm a physicist. There's a lot of problem solving. There's very little doing the same thing over and over again. My job is replaceable once the AI gets good enough. Coder's job is replaceable once the AI gets good enough. Computers can write their own code. I mean, just need to get the AI there. It's just a matter of time. So
as long as people stay oppressed, I still have a job.
There is a point where we are in Star Trek Next Generation. Yes. Right. But that's a long way off.
They're all employed. No, I mean, we might even,
That's why universal basic
I mean, there's no
income is
money
pretty
though.
important.
There's no money. Well, that's actually something that my boyfriend Sam Harris brings up a lot.
You love Sam Harris too?
I love him.
Fuck me too.
I get little emails. Angela was with me when I got like his email because I'm on his list, right? And I got an email. I'm like, oh, Angela, I got an email from Sam. And she's like, what the fuck?
I'm jealous.
You can get on his mailing list too.
And he talks about that. He talks a lot about needing to figure out. We're gonna have to totally restructure our society if the way that you get food and sustenance to live goes away, and that goes away for pretty much everyone. We got to change our society.
Yeah, we have to fundamentally change the way we do things.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Definitely. And it's faster than people think. Tesla is they're announcing their automated or semi-automated
cars,
semi-truck, tractor trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
In September of this year.
There's a lot of truck drivers out there.
I don't know about Canada, but America's driving is 20% of the workforce.
Oh, wow.
Driving of some kind or another.
I think I've heard
Uber and Tesla.
There's so many truck drivers here.
I've actually heard that it's something more like 60-70% of white men drive for a living in the States. Like if you just look at that demographic between a certain age,
really white men?
For white? Yeah, I know. In the States. I'm talking in the States.
All I can think of right now is
yeah.
All I can think of is if it goes that way, it's like, I need this delivered there by Tuesday. I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that.
Well, I think the reason that particular stat gets brought up with white men in the States is that that's the Trump supporter. Like that's the, you know what I mean? That's where that demographic's coming from. Is those jobs go away, those people are.
You know, I can't wait till Trump tweets about Tesla and drops their share price a few $1 billion.
Yeah.
Well, if he says negative things.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Please go.
Okay. What's terrible is this is a problem that we could solve. You know, we have years to figure out, you know, what to do next, right? But no one's doing anything about it other than like philosophers and debaters and things. Mm-hmm. No one in policy is doing anything. We know low-skilled jobs are going away. All tellers, all cashiers will one day be obsolete because they're more expensive than robots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All fast food will one day go away because Google has a machine now that if you have items in exactly the right spot, it can cook you food.
Right.
And the only other job there is a teller. So, like, that's a huge portion of people who don't go to college. Yeah. Between driving and fast food and basic retail. Mm-hmm. But no one's doing anything about it.
That's a particularly big issue, I think, because I think as the blue-collar factory jobs sort of went away, they were sort of replaced with, like, arguably, so retail and service jobs, right? Like that was kind of the natural place to go. But, yeah, if those jobs go, where else are people going to go if you don't have university education, right? Like.
The problem is, I think we put too much emphasis on university education. Like I was mentioning to everyone a little bit earlier here, I have a finance degree, but it really doesn't mean anything. You know,
gets your foot in the door, though, right? If you didn't have that, how would you apply for the job? That's all. I mean, I'm not saying you use what you learned at your degree every day, but I'm just saying, if you, I mean, it's like a selection filter.
And you're right. I just think the jobs put too much emphasis on degrees, because especially if you look at something like accounting, most of that stuff is taught on the workforce.
Right.
My job, I'll be honest, it's more of a sales job. My jobs before that, I thought I'd be applying financial analytics, all that stuff I learned in school, but they gave me a calculator and said it does everything for you. And it's sad to admit, but like I came to a realization. I've just been like a salesman since I've joined the financial industry, and you know, a lot of people I've graduated university with, they really feel that they put $30,000 to $50,000 of loans towards something just to get a job that pays them $30,000 to $50,000 a year before taxes.
Right.
Oh, I know. It's getting
you don't got to
ridiculous.
go into programming.
Yeah, I'm with Will on that one.
But even programming, I mean, there's a lot of places, as far as I know, are outsourcing programming to places where you don't have to pay people as much. You know, if you can pay a programmer in India less to do make the same program, you might do that. I mean, like
they do that in my field of work too.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah, that is a thing that was really common, but has become less and less common over time because those people suck. Well, I actually have a job. I mean, not to say all outsourced people suck, but I have my job now because they did a terrible job.
Right.
And the 3 people they hired after me were hired because people not only out of the country, but in our country who were hired in to do work did a terrible job. So people are seeing the value of being able to employ people in your building so you can, interview them, search their credentials, see that they suck at their job and hire someone else.
Yeah. Interact with them, right? You have a feedback mechanism as you're building your product, right? Like,
Yeah. So, I mean, I actually work with UPS, and one of their larger groups is back-end programming because it's the outsourcing it was just terrible. And they found even though it costs more to hire people in America, they save so much money and get so much, better user experience and better code that it was overall better to just hire them here. Yeah.
Doesn't matter anyways. The AI overlords are going to replace your job in 20 years.
Eventually, which is why I'm learning new languages. I'm going to learn how to code the AI.
They're going to code themselves. Haven't you seen Westworld? Oh my god.
I was thinking more Terminator.
Is there
Another HBO.
Is there a second season?
Yeah.
Okay, don't tell me anything.
They released
Say nothing. No,
a trailer.
oh my god, no. Oh, but it's not out yet.
Yes.
It's not out.
Yeah.
Basit knows all.
Okay, just saying. Don't tell me anything. I gotta watch season 2.
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
Don't tell me anything, or I will literally. I fucking hate the internet right now. I fucking memes, and I fucking kill someone. I don't know.
I don't know what your A-Team video means.
Be more Corey, because Corey declared that he can be spoiled.
Yeah, I don't believe in spoilers.
And then he forgets stuff, and then he can just watch it.
Yeah.
See, there is a solution to this problem, and my family found out a while ago. Only watch TV shows that have run their entire series and been canceled.
Right.
If you go back a little ways, go a couple of years back, there are no spoilers because no one's talking about it anymore. You just watch the whole show. Everything's new.
I know, but I've seen all the seasons, and like I'm not allowed to watch the new one until somebody catches up. Don't get me started.
Oh, that sucks.
Those are my Monday morning conversations. Like 2 hours of theories on.
I don't know if you understand, Basit. Lisa is sacrificing herself in a way. She's not watching Game of Thrones.
Why?
Because she's trying to catch up her man.
She
so
must
that they
love
can.
him.
I was thinking. That's what I told her.
I fucking catch up soon. I don't know how much longer.
What season are you on?
No, I'm kidding. I'm up to the new one, but I haven't watched the new one. He's on season 1 because he's a fucking asshole.
He's taking forever.
Why wait? No, don't wait. It's too late for that.
Can I just tell him to fuck off? Can I just tell him no?
Yes, you can tell him no.
You can just
say
you have
no.
The power.
Fuck him.
Yes, there
it's
you
been
go.
on for 6 years. You're only on season 1. You're too far behind. Too bad.
I'm sorry. I'm
willing to rewatch them with him. I'm
Seeing
cool
you
with it.
disappear in the horizon.
So here's the funny thing. I got my parents on Game of Thrones.
Nice.
So my
But you
dad
can't watch it with them, right?
Oh no, they're cool with that stuff.
I
Kinda
can't.
weird, but-
I get uncomfortable. I'm like, I can't watch
All the
this
boobs?
with my mom.
So
No,
here's
sorry.
the funny thing. So my dad's quite fluent in English. My mom has a little bit of problem understanding it. So she's all caught up. I'm like, oh mom, who was your favorite character? It's like, oh, it was the good-looking guy. No, it's not. It's not spoilers for you.
He's not spoiling it. He's not spoiling it.
He's like, it's the good-looking guy. I was like, okay,
Which one?
Which one?
Who's the
right?
good-looking guy?
Yeah. She meant Rob Starr.
Oh, okay.
She's like, I was sad when the good-looking guy died. I was like, oh, who's your favorite character? John Cena. I love that guy. It's like, mom, you're way off there. It's like my dad's like, she means Jon Snow, and like, and who's your most hated one? She's like, she fucking hates Roger. Who's Roger? And my dad's like, that's Jamie Lannister. I've tried correcting her, but I don't know how she got Roger from Jamie Lannister. He's Roger in my books now, I guess, too. Fuck Roger.
Fuck Roger.
No offense
Hey,
to the
please,
Rogers.
nobody tell me anything, please.
Okay,
I'll
let's
kill
change
you
the
all.
subject. Let's ask Will another question.
Wait, I'm a guest, so I don't have to deal with anything. There are dragons.
There you go.
There's 3 of them.
Please stop. Please. I'm begging you people. I'm really begging you.
There are
Please
dragons.
don't ruin it for me. Please. I just scroll my Facebook feed so carefully and I try not to read anything.
I know that there's like. Nah, I'm not even.
Please, I beg you all. I beg you.
Enough with twisting the knife.
I will catch up this weekend, okay? I think I'm only 4 episodes behind. How many episodes are there in the new season so far? Through 4?
Six.
There's
Motherfucking 6?
6, 5, if you technically don't count the spoiled one.
Fuck you.
So
What's
are there
going on? Don't tell me
6 in
anything.
total
Don't-
this
Never mind. No, I
There's
don't want to
5
know.
that
I don't
have
want to
been
know.
aired, but there's 6 that have been on the internet.
Okay.
With great quality, might I?
You legal downloader.
Oh, I never said that. I was just told.
Oh.
Will, you said you did volunteer work.
Yeah, I was gonna.
What volunteer work do you do?
That's a good question.
I am starting to do that. I've always, back when I was religious, I had a calling to help people, right?
Yes.
Now I know I just like helping people. I'd like to better the world.
You better not be volunteering to
You're
show
a
people Game of
humanist.
Thrones. That's all I got to say. Sorry.
Maybe.
Ultron?
Maybe. I'm not going to confirm nor deny, but UPS actually has a really big tie with United Way. So they do a lot of volunteer work there, and I've been working with United Way to organize volunteer events. So I know last week, I think it was, we went out and helped at a place that I forget. I'm starting to forget you guys aren't near me and don't know the places I'm thinking of, but volunteered at a place that actually donates clothes and, like baby seats and all, basically anything you could need for a child that you are fostering.
Nice.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. So they actually go through, I'm trying to remember the numbers, I think $600,000 worth of stuff a year.
Holy
just
fuck.
giving it away to families who are fostering kids. Because down here, you get some help, but not enough. Like if you bring in a kid, they don't have anything. So maybe you get a $100 check, $200 check, whatever it is from the government. But that doesn't help the kid that first month, and it certainly doesn't buy him a backpack, a stroller, and a wardrobe. Mm-hmm. So we help them there. Actually, UPS updated all of their lighting and built shelves and stuff for them, stuff like that.
Wow.
We're going to help next week at a school for special needs children and teens.
Nice.
We're going down there. We generally do like landscaping and organizing stuff, and UPS does a lot of logistics, so we kind of leverage that there. And then we play with kids, which is fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I'm working on finding specifically secular places to volunteer, because there are people I work with who aren't necessarily secular, but definitely aren't Christian.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I'm in a very diverse working area, and they don't really want to volunteer at like the Catholic charity,
Yes.
which, as far as I know, isn't a place we've volunteered, but just as an example. So I'm trying to set those up, pet shelters and things like that.
That's cool.
I know there's a lot of really religious dogs out there. You have to be careful if.
I don't want to offend the religious dogs, but there are religious dogs too, and cats.
Holy shit.
I know. Right? Actually, I think all cats are atheists because they're pissy. They're so pissy.
You can't get them together to save your life.
I'm pretty sure some cats are Satanists.
Which atheists have you met?
Atheists are like herding cats, right? It's like, okay, everyone, let's all agree. No, like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, all the atheists I know are pretty pissy.
I'm really nice.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was corrected by the perfect woman back there that cats think they are God.
Oh, true.
Yes.
Thanks for clarifying that. Yes.
Very true.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting. There's so many opportunities for that as a member of a religion. There's those opportunities to be helpful and give people stuff, but you're kind of lacking in an atheist skeptic community.
Yeah, you got to go out of your way to find stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different where y'all are, but a lot of places down here, if you donate things, a lot of it doesn't end up going anywhere. Because say the church tends to not have the logistical capability to actually do anything.
Oh, okay.
I was at a church that had a food bank, and they never gave out food because they just didn't have the logistics to. It ended up spoiling. Really? And then a lot of the finances go into missionary work, building churches, handing out Bibles. And you know what? Demonstrably, that isn't helpful to anybody unless your church is used as a shelter.
Yeah.
They're not building houses. They're not feeding people. So I think that, honestly, non-religious groups probably have a better handle on helping people than religious ones. Generally.
They don't have those extra goals, those extra things that they're doing. Eh?
They're not wasting resources on useless things like Bibles.
Yeah. They're never praying that someone will come and help them with logistics. They're just going out and finding someone to do logistics.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Like Doctors Without Borders does really good work.
Yeah.
Also Médecins Sans Frontières.
Them too.
What?
She just said the same thing in French.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
Doctors Without Borders is the English version.
Ah.
Lisa.
We've got a little person at the door.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Oh, my God.
I have to pee.
That brought to mind a great thing. My children left to go spend the night at a friend's house tonight. And the reason they cited to do so, to be allowed to do so, was because I was going to be on a podcast and they didn't want to interrupt.
Wow. Perfect.
Yeah. One of them wants to be a judge when he grows up. So he's working very hard to come up with solid arguments.
Good.
That's impressive. Is that the oldest one?
He is, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That is a noble pursuit for sure.
All boys?
I think it depends on why you do it. Yeah.
That's.
How does your wife feel about that?
She's still sad.
Yeah.
But you know what? It looks like my brother is going to have all girls, so it'll be okay.
There you go. Yeah.
We can trade.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, I'm just
You know what? She's not here. She's not going to listen to the podcast after being in it.
No, she isn't. We can spoil.
Yeah. I can't spoil anything because I stopped watching when that guy got his eyes gouged out by the mountain. That was my last episode.
Oh,
really?
Geez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a while ago now.
I had a really hard time with that one.
Yeah.
I think
it was the only... I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
The Theon Greyjoy plot really, really fucked with me. Because I didn't see that in the book anywhere, and I just really struggled with the significance of how he was treated. That was horrendous.
That's in the book, but it's not as graphic as in the...
It was really horrible.
Yeah.
Well,
that actually, between that and the mountain eye gouging, those two things were what cut me off that show.
Yeah.
The Sansa rape scene in the books, it wasn't Sansa, it was way worse in the books.
Yeah?
Way worse. I think Ramsay forced Theon to eat out the Sansa imposter.
Well, the thing is, in the books is totally different. It's not Sansa. He was supposed to have been Arya, which was actually her friend
Jean Poole or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But once again, the reality is how many actors or characters can you introduce in a show and still keep it kind of...
Yeah, you kind of have to
understand what's going on.
So I can see why they did it, and I know it was a huge outcry when she did get raped, but there is a realism to the show of what did happen back in the day. I know there's a lot of concern that there's not enough ethnic.
There was some concern about that.
But truth be told, back in the day, was the realism portion of it, right?
The thing is, it's a fantasy thing, but it's still a panache of Europe. Westeros is Europe.
Yeah.
And you know what? They do have an ethnic race there on the other continent, which is pretty much exactly what you'd expect if you were thinking Europe and Africa.
Yeah.
It was all white people and all black people, and that was the only races there were back then.
Yeah.
Basit got to meet the mountain.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I was in.
That's awesome. I heard he's an amazingly nice dude.
Well, he almost crushed my hand, but by giving me a simple handshake. But yeah, he is nice. It's a funny story, actually. Megan and I, my fiance, we decided to travel to Iceland. It's always been a dream of mine to go there.
Yeah.
So once we landed, I remember my coach, strongman coach, telling me, he's like, if you somehow see the mountain there, get an autograph because he's a huge strongman. So we laughed because I knew he was joking. So 20 minutes I land, and I'm walking down the airport, and there's the mountain.
Wow.
Yeah, I shit you not. I was like, yo, Hofthor, what's up? He turns around, looks at me. He's like, hello. He's like, I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan, man. I cannot get a photo with you. I don't know where that is, but okay. Yeah. We got to get a photo together. He's like, man, I'm a huge fan of yours. He's like, okay, cool. And I didn't know what else to say. He's like, okay, bye. Yeah. If I ever see him again, I was like, do you remember me? And I hope he does.
That one time, yes.
Wow. Did you get to see any Northern Lights or anything out there?
Yeah, well, in Saskatchewan, you get to see that if you go 20 minutes outside in the winter outside the city. You get to see them, yeah. But we've been around the whole country. It's actually a really small country. We finished the whole ring road of it in 4 days.
Wow.
And take note, we drove quite a bit, and I'll be honest, I've never seen a place more beautiful than Iceland. I've traveled quite a bit in my life right now. And, something always calls me back there. I miss it.
I've heard wonderful things about that place.
Mm-hmm. Really nice people.
That's cool.
Thanks.
I'm so jealous. There's a podcast, actually 2 podcasts that I listen to, and together they are doing a trip to Iceland for like 2 weeks to do like Northern Lights and all sorts of stuff like that. And I'm like so jealous that I don't have the $3,000 to go.
Yeah. There's this WoW Airlines. Megan and I used a cheap airline. We got a round trip for $900.
Wow,
per person.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really good. And most of the $900 was from going from Regina to Toronto and from Toronto to Regina, not from Toronto to Iceland. So.
Yeah, flight in Canada is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Just to let you know, as all parents know, do all the traveling you want to do now. Because if I wanted to go to Iceland, I have to pay for 5 tickets.
Yeah.
I don't go a lot of places.
Us too.
Yeah.
And then when you do travel, it's not a holiday at all. You get back home and you're like, fuck, I wish I had another week off.
You're still parenting the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shut up, goddammit.
Make your kids super independent, and when they get old enough to have their own room, you just ignore them for half the day.
Yeah.
It's great.
But when they get to be teenagers, it's great because they sleep until noon.
See?
So you still have half the day. It's like, oh, good afternoon. It'll happen. Probably like a year or 2. So.
Well, I still got the young one too. The young, it's 8. So what is that? 5 more years for the youngest one to hit teenagers.
Yeah.
It'll happen before you know it.
My son is 13, but I don't let him do that.
You don't?
No, hell no. I get up and go to the gym at 6 o'clock, and I'm back at 8, and he's up at 8:30. That's it.
Oh wow!
He got shit to do. He's got to go outside. He's
do you
like
vacuum into his room like my mom used to do? Good morning. It's gonna be a great day.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Here's the sun.
Yeah.
I'm a morning person, so I'm a terrible mean dad that way.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate morning people. Not that I hate you. Every single day because my kid's got to be at the bus at 6:30 and I got to be at work at 7. And I hate mornings.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
Ever since I was a kid, I loved the morning. Like I would get up 3 hours before I had to go to school so I could watch cartoons and eat with nobody else around and just have my own time.
They took away Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
What a pain.
I did that at night. I would be up till 2 a.m. doing that,
Okay. So you were the zombie in the morning on the way to school?
Yes. Yeah.
I know.
I actually, when I was a teenager, I lived about a mile from school and using the road, but there was a farm because I was in Paulding County. There was a farm between me and the school. So I would wake up at like 10 a.m., watch. Yeah, it's late enough now for me to say this. Watch Dawson's Creek because it was on back in the day, and it was the only thing on. But I'd eat my cereal watching this TV show and get to school about 11:15. Yeah,
nice.
School starts at 8:45.
Oh,
right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I aced the classes, but it was most of the classes. I did have to do one summer of school.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Getting there at 11, one summer's not that bad.
No, that's right.
That's fantastic. I wonder if we have to end things here.
I think we got to move on.
It's 9:30. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Your time. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being a patron. Thanks for listening. Thanks for everything. You for even helping out on the website, like all the stuff.
Sorry, I couldn't continue that.
No worries. You've been a great supporter of the show, and we really, really appreciate it.
Definitely.
You know what? Don't think too highly of me. You are people who deserve support. I listen, as you saw in my email to you when you were like, what podcast, or I mentioned what podcast I listened to. There's like 45 podcasts.
Right.
I support one. Y'all need support, and you're doing stuff, and that's not a combination that's out there all that often. So you're worth supporting.
We definitely appreciate that.
We're blushing.
For sure.
Yes. I'm
trying to figure out what stuff we're doing. But
you'll bring back the conference one day.
It's front end stuff. It's front end stuff.
We'll bring it back one day.
Stuff.
I mean, I actually broke down. Like, I know we didn't do it this year, and I kind of sort of stepped down from mainly being the main organizer of it for next year or whatever. I don't know what's happening with it anyway. But I broke down the list of steps of what we have to do to get our conference off the ground. And so at least I've done that. And so we know where we can start.
Yeah. See, that sort of thing you will be able to do more often and spend more time at if you get more patrons.
Yep.
Aaron Raw can do anything he wants. David Smollett can do anything he wants because they have thousands of dollars a month.
That's right.
And if you guys got that, not to put anyone on the spot, listener, you guys got that.
Hint, hint.
Believe you would do stuff,
Yes. It's true.
So that is why I support y'all.
We appreciate that.
It's very appreciated.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose you don't have anything to plug necessarily, hey?
You know what? I will plug something. I don't know if it's in you guys' area, but since you have an international podcast, United Way has a not the best with words, a service called 211. I think the website for it is 2-1-1.com, or it's just 211.com. And what they do is you call them when you have an acute emergency. My house burnt down. I just got kicked out. DUI, whatever your issue is. My kids were taken by defects. What do I do? I'm on drugs. I need help. Anything. You call them, completely anonymous. No one ever knows. And all they do is figure out through United Way's vast network, international network, who can help you. And they connect you to those people.
Well, that's a great idea.
And you can use them as often as you need for whatever you need.
That's called.
And it's free.
We have Mobile Crisis in Regina who does
Mobile Crisis?
Yeah, they're like in their own agency, but that's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that if I plugged anything, that would be the thing to plug, because they, like y'all, they help people, and that's really what's important. If there's no afterlife and no one who's going to help you when you pray, we need to do it ourselves.
For sure.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Sing it, brother.
Well, thanks, man.
Thank you so much. You
Thank
take
you.
care.
Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye.
I will.
I love you, Will.
Do we have ads, Dave?
We have some ads.
Yeah, I'm just gonna talk to them. I'm gonna do the impressions.
'Kay.
Here we go. No, just kidding. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
If you like what we're doing and want to help us keep the lights on, go become a patron at patreon.com/Brainstorm Podcast. You can hear the bonus half hour that we record every episode and get a shout out when you support the show. Become a patron for just $1 an episode at patreon.com/Brainstorm Podcast. Or you can support the show by ordering a t-shirt, mug, or other gear from our store at caffeepress.ca/Brainstorm Podcast Gear. If you can't afford to become a patron or buy gear, then why not give us a rating or write a review on iTunes or Stitcher? Every rating makes it easier for people to find us. Thanks for your support.
We are given one life, full of billions of small and large decisions. To be somebody, to change, to be kind, to give hope, to become a better person, and to leave a lasting impact on this planet. It is a decision to be made every single day while your heart is still beating. We've made our decision. Absence of Clothing, atheist and science-based apparel and merchandise, donating 50% of our profits to charity. Look good and feel good, without God. Check us out at absenceofclothing.com and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest for discount codes and other sweet swag.
Use the code BRAINSTORM at absenceofclothing.com and get 10% off.
The Atheists,
the Bible,
and No Wardrobe, the podcast.
Wait a minute. No wardrobe? You mean we're going to be naked while we do this?
Well, seeing how I'm an atheist and I'm reading the Bible, and since clothes are flammable... Fire! 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 I thought it might be a good idea to take them all off first.
Naked or not, follow along as we read, analyze, and try to keep you from falling asleep as we go through this boring-ass book.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. Who knows? We may even be on YouTube someday.
Are we back?
No.
We're all in heaven. We're all like, fuck, there was a God.
God damn it. He was behind the couch.
Okay, so
the back end. That's never going to get old, sorry.
You really enjoyed that.
I love that.
You enjoyed the back end. I'm just saying.
So our back end enthusiast here is a new host or guest host, potentially new host if he wants to keep coming back. Basit. So I guess just some background. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up religious? How did you become an atheist? You know, the typical stuff.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Pakistan. Definitely a different way of lifestyle then. Never really felt comfortable there. Never really enjoyed the place. My family and my dad used to work in China, and I would just see him periodically. So eventually he ended up getting our family a visa, and we all moved to China and lived there for quite some time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it turns out Mandarin's really hard to learn.
I bet,
yeah.
Would never have guessed that.
Yeah. So instead of learning English, we went from Urdu and Hindi straight into Mandarin. And so there was no hope for me in that regard. So my dad said, okay, my dad moved a lot for his job and for my education.
Oh, wow.
So we moved to the States a bit. And at that point, all my family left Pakistan and immigrated to Germany. And from the States, we moved to Toronto. And in Toronto, I lived there for 10 years. Learned English by playing a lot of video games.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a friend that helped me out through quite some time. And I still blunder quite a few times here and there. And then came to Regina and did my university degree in finance here. I became an atheist. I'll be honest, I really like going on dates, and I always wonder, why is this a sin? I understand the temptations of it, but why would, why do we have to frown upon something that's so fundamental to ourselves? And then, if you actually, when you're growing up and you're hearing about the miracles and everything, and you're hearing about the war victories, and you see it in such a different light, and when you're an adult and you're critically looking at it and saying, oh, wow, Muhammad was a warlord. He married a 9 to 10-year-old girl and when he was 50. And, stuff like that started getting questioned. And every time I asked these questions, it was kind of met with retaliation. It's like, oh, you're thinking like a Westerner. Why would you do that? And this is just my experience. I know everyone has a little bit of a different input, but I felt extremely uncomfortable. And the religion itself was quite violent. And every aspect of it, like when I read in the Quran, we were met with I was met with that it was written in a different time. And at the same time, it's preached as being the most perfect book. And that's quite a controversy and irony in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was under an undercover atheist for a bit, and it was really tough to talk to my family about it.
Right.
We luckily ended up putting that behind us, and I never liked the idea of putting God over your family or your loved ones, and that And I'm surprised nobody really talks about it, but the concept of internal hell. What the fuck?
Yeah, it seems
suffering
pretty weird,
for suffering for the rest of your life, for eternity. That's quite cruel. And I remember the day I left it, the waking up the next day and just feeling some sense of relief. And yeah, I haven't really looked back. I do miss the community a bit. They were really nice people. We never really talked religion when we were with each other. But now I feel like every time I am with them, it's always a religious conversation.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Wow. It goes both ways. If they talk to me about it, instead of like kind of diverting the conversation away, I really tack on those points there. I don't know. Like sometimes I just don't know what I'm trying to achieve out of that. And that's something I guess I got to work on too. So it's a tough way to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is your family still religious?
Yeah, but they're not like, how Islam is going through a reformation and how there's a lot of like Western cultural influence, and they're more so on that aspect. They're very, very, like they used to be. They're self-critical of themselves and how they approach things, and they, I guess, pick and choose what's right. And I
like
think,
any religious person, sort of, right?
Exactly.
Well, more fun. I mean, whatever. I don't know how to say that. Like in a way, you're like say the quotes lucky that your family is more moderate that way. I know that there's a lot of people who leave Islam and they, their families won't talk to them again, and that's true of other religions as well. But depending on how fundamentalist your family is, you might leave. That's like that can be a drawback of leaving the religion, is that you lose your family.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love my family, and that's something I had to come to terms with. Not everything. You tend to hang out with people that end up having similar perspectives to you, but you'll be shocked at how much you disagree with everyone. And while I disagree with my family, I disagree with each other. It's not why we love each other, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dad's a climate change denier. So.
That's a tough one, man. I'm sorry. My parents full out believe in that.
Thanksgiving's fun at Corey's house.
That's right.
Well, I know at least one of my brothers is probably a 9/11 truther, I think.
I think we all went through that phase, though.
He just never came out.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I didn't do. Even when I was like a weird conservative, and I was an idiot conservative for a while, 9/11 was clearly the action of these.
I never believed George W. Bush was smart enough to pull any of that shit off.
I really thought he was an idiot.
Yeah.
It's giving him a lot of credit. Yeah.
I heard a stat, like, it was back in, it must have been like 2 years after 9/11. And the stat was like something like 40% of people believed that it was an inside job, that America did it to themselves. And I was like, what? 40%? Like, holy cow, that seems insane.
Turns out they only polled people from rural Saskatchewan.
That's right.
A bit of a selection bias there.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I had plenty of nonsense beliefs in my life, so.
I think we all have. Jeez.
It's kind of weird. When I was in university, a lot of my friends, you wouldn't really know that we're so politically conservative. We all never really talked about it, and everyone just understood that, when I'm from Pakistan, you don't make like racist jokes, blah, 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 even though I straight up made them all the time. But I never realized it till the Syrian refugee crisis happened. You see it all over Facebook and how against there. All of a sudden, everyone became so knowledgeable on fiscal spendings and how we should be putting our money, on how everyone started caring about our veterans all of a sudden. It's like, oh, why aren't we allocating about this? Like, what's this?
Yeah.
Wow. Years. I'm glad you solved our economic issues. Like,
there's that meme, like, before Facebook, I just thought everybody believed in science.
You need to join more knitting groups on Facebook, because they were all knitting hats for the Syrian refugees.
Oh, there you
They
go.
were.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very progressive knitting groups.
Knitting groups are very progressive, actually. It's
That's
actually true. Like,
fantastic.
that's a lot of lefties in knitting groups, generally speaking. Yeah.
So many.
Unless you join the prayer shawl people in the States. You avoid
that's a
those
different
humans.
group, though.
Avoid those humans. They're fine, but Jesus Christ, like, at some
There's
point.
the hippies who knit, and there's the religious people who knit.
I have more
bit of oil and
faith
water
in the
there.
shawls than what they, you know.
Anyway, sorry. I digress. Go ahead, Corey, please.
Anyway, so I guess, your specialty is finance, so we kind of, you came up with some stats, some information to discuss?
Okay, I want to just be a disclaimer. I tried to come up with some stats here. So there's some things I'll talk about with finance in general. What a lot of people think it's basic finance. It's more complicated. What a lot of people think it's complicated. It's actually basic. The first thing I want to do is I'm trying to somehow connect personal finance to climate change. And I just came up with like a random theory with no basis whatsoever. So I want to do a little bit of research in it that climate change for a lot of people in debt is a back burner. If you think about it, we have consumption of fossil fuel and the dependency on agriculture. It's quite a huge contributor to climate change, as we all know. So my theory was that when someone's worrying about putting food on the table, when someone's worrying about essentially getting to work on the fastest time possible and strapped for time most of the time, sorry for the English there, that they're not exactly thinking about their carbon footprint.
Right.
So,
I can attribute, like, I can attest to that. Like, I don't worry much about my carbon footprint, really.
Yeah, and it's a harsh truth. And I just don't want people to think I'm the greatest salvation out there. I'm awful. So I decided to just do some data crunching. So first thing I did was I looked at the world's carbon emission and saw. And there were some arguments that people made that we don't need a carbon tax because Canada does only about 2% of the world's carbon emission. And they're right. They're right about
as a country, right?
As a country, but you have to also look at it on a per capita basis.
Yeah. Per
capita meaning per head. And we're the fourth worst in the world when it comes to that. So China's not even in the top four. I believe it was Saudi Arabia, Australia, the U.S., then us. And China was actually below there, and essentially they've made strides and differences. So instead of focusing on Canada, I thought I'd get more data by focusing on the U.S. So I focused on their emission output. I focused on income poverty, regular income levels, and credit card debts to find out if there was any sort of correlation. And if it's more than anything, I think I had more questions after I was done my data.
the way any good research thing works.
Yeah, I was thinking, it's like, oh my God. So I ended up talking to a few economists about that, and they're like, this is like years worth of research, not something you can look up in 2 weeks. And I was like, oh. Well,
but I got to go on a podcast. And
I was like, can I say anything? He's like, not really. So the information I found was now California and New York have the biggest carbon emissions.
Right.
But you also have to note that on a per capita basis, they're the best in the states by far.
Is that, or, okay.
So if you just take the emissions divided amongst their population,
right.
They're the best. The worst, surprisingly, by far, was Wyoming. And, of course, there's different output, and there's a lot of variables associated with this. So I was wondering, why Wyoming had the worst. So I was thinking, okay, maybe their poverty level is the highest. They had one of the lowest in the state. Their income was around average.
Probably because everyone has their own big-ass truck.
And their debt levels were actually not that bad either. And so overall, after doing some research, there's a lot of import and exports. While a lot of poverty places have demand for it, and the emissions came from the supplier.
Right.
So it's not really the study I've more so done. It's a lot more complicated than what I've given it credit to, because if the emissions coming from the supplier, that means there's a demand for it somewhere else. So we all each other have to look as individuals and realize that, when it comes to personal finances, it's really tough to put being green first. And every day it's going to be a struggle. When you tell someone about going vegetarian, it's like, what's the cheapest way to get protein?
Right.
What's the cheapest, it's easy to get carbs. What's the best way to get fat? When you tell someone, it's like, okay, you have to cut out the dependency of animals and go vegan. It's like, well, how do you maintain a standard living, an aesthetic look? It's all of that starts combining, and it's really frustrating when you tell someone, okay, you can just walk to work. That's really tough and time-consuming, and a lot of people have to do sacrifice, and all that stuff is backburner because at the end of the day, people still want to enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
And the amount of sacrifices you tell people to do, it's really tough. You guys would be shocked as a banker, and I can't exactly disclose where I work, but it's a bank. I'm a finance manager there, and most of the people I deal with are in crippling debt.
Right.
I wish I could say it was good debt, where people went to school and they did it for their education. I do meet clients like that, and I feel sorry for them. But most of the debts I find are people decide to have kids at the wrong time. 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-olds with giant truck loans. Those are my number one clients, and those are the kids that end up actually going through bankruptcy.
Right.
When it comes to finances, I just want to let, people who are looking around for homes and stuff like that, just know that the Canadian-American dream it's not right anymore. It was right for the time of getting married, having kids, and buying a home. Renting is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's a living. You're paying for a living. You're not dumping money away. You're dumping money for yourself. 90% of the time, mortgages are more expensive than rent.
Yeah.
People don't account for property taxes. People don't account for renovations. And just to let you know, when you take into account inflation, does everyone know what inflation is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's say we do, or if you can explain.
Inflation is just the cost of living. It goes up by roughly 2% every year.
Mm-hmm.
So you also have to tack that onto your interest rate. So suppose you're paying your mortgage at 2.59%, hypothetically.
It's a very precise hypothetical mortgage rate.
We were offering that
2.59, not 60, not 5,
we were offering
8.
that at
So I'm just saying 2 decimals of hypothetical. Go ahead. Sorry.
So
I'm okay.
You also have to add inflation to that. That means your mortgage is getting 2% harder to afford every year.
Right.
So if you add all those factors in together, plus renovations, and the fact that 90% of homeowners end up going through a mortgage refinance.
Right, yeah.
Right? All those factor in, a rent is most of the time going to be cheaper. That being said, there's a lot of another factor people worry about is their credit. Credit's always a fun one because a client could have a good credit score and I could decline them very hard on an application. And I'd like our listeners to know that it's not just your credit we look at. Your credit score is great, but we also look at your capital, your net worth. We look at other stuff like your collateral. But one of the most important things we look at is, can you afford what we're going to give you? Because you have to know banks are not your friends. They're not your family. They're a business. And we will work to make sure we're keeping you happy. That's fine and dandy here. And we can be friendly, but when you come in saying that you have $5,000 in collections and you need it out of there so you can pay down at a lower interest rate, good luck.
Right.
Yeah, and it's because we go ahead and look at that and say, is this right for the client? No, it's more so we look at it and say, is it right for us? Are we going to get our money back?
Right.
Right, and I know a lot of people have these controversies on, should banks be like this, and how we're taking their money and stuff like that. We're not. Most of the time, we never steal money. I'm now saying most of the time because I say most of the time because there are a lot of corruptions. But from my understanding, it's just there's a lot of misunderstanding of especially when it comes to like stuff like account fees. I get yellings daily because somebody complained about their credit score. And I was like, we don't monitor your credit. A separate company does that. We just have a deal where we get to look at your credit, so we want to make sure if he can give you a loan or not.
Yeah.
Finance is extremely unsexy. I've never, very few people I've met that will sit down, even my finance professors, they were like the coolest people ever, but they knew DER and they let me know, like, they're salespeople. You have to understand, if you hear finance, if you're at a private investment firm, those guys are salespeople. They're working hard on it. If you go in there asking them, telling them you're in debt, most of the time they're going to look away and just say, can they make money off you? And if they can't, chances are they're not going to want to talk to you. There's with all your investments, you have to know there's a lot of fees associated with them. Nothing is free. The more money you have, you'll notice the friendlier people get to you.
Right.
They want your business. So please try to understand that when you go in there, everyone's friendly, but to go out and have a drink with these guys, you need another reason to be their friends. Car salespeople are some of the most unethical people I've ever talked to in my life.
Oh, fuck yeah. Gumby asshole. Swindled me.
And he's a good one.
And car finance managers are another one. Like, I don't understand how you can logically look at a 21-year-old working at Loblaws and giving them an $80,000 car loan.
Right.
I don't know how you can approve someone of that. And just like, and I'll be honest, I don't know how they can do it, but from a banker's perspective, from just an outside perspective, how does that seem right? That someone's making payments more than their entire paycheck. And
it doesn't make sense, yeah.
But the scary part was, it wasn't the car loan that car company that gave them that loan. Who will all know me? It was a bank,
right?
Like, so if the individual came in with me, I would decline him. But he got it. The car company did something to tell the bank to approve it. And I'm not, like I said, this is not a conspiracy, but I think something at some point his income was inflated.
Well, I can speak to a little bit of that as a person who was in crippling debt at one point, and car finance people will tweak the numbers here and there. You know, they'll be like, no, if you want to get approved, we'll work with this numbers. And even if you kind of, and people are a little bit complacent in it too, because they go, well, I make this, and maybe I can tell them I make a little bit more, and I got this payment, but I don't really pay that.
There's a lot of the other aspect. I don't know if you guys have personally ever dealt with mortgage brokers. There's now in Canada, typically banks will never give you a mortgage unless you can do a 20% down payment. That's a rough estimate. And now there's a new company called the Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation, CMHC. Yeah. With a fee tacked onto your mortgage, you can make as low as a 5% down payment nowadays with a 4% fee attached to that. Right. Just simplifying it that much. Okay. If I go anymore, I think you'll lose viewers. If someone's debt servicing ratio, that means their income versus their cash inflow versus their cash outflow. If it's 45%, they get declined automatically by CMHC.
Right.
I've had many clients where the bank was willing to accept them, but since they didn't have the 20% down payment and CMHC said no because they were at 46, 47, they needed to be at that 44 on the dot at least. We had to go ahead and turn them down. Then most of them end up giving me a call, obviously with some colorful languages, saying a mortgage broker got them approved, no big deal. And I said, how? It's not the bank that declined you. It's the CMHC, which is a government-run corporation. What did they do to
right.
Yeah,
somebody's tweaking the numbers again.
Yeah, I was
right?
like, you gave me literally. You came in. I used the numbers off your pay stubs, your T4s, whatever at that time. Like I just plugged it in, and it just said it wasn't right for you. How did they approve? Like we don't know, but obviously a more colorful language was followed after that. And look, my clients are like, I know a lot of people mean well. But it's a scary time for a lot of people because, scary. I don't want to give the perception that we're going towards Armageddon or something, but like, it's tough.
Trump is still president, so.
Yeah, that's.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
But there is the perception of like, when it comes to affording education, doesn't anyone else kind of feel that putting a huge price on education is kind of leading us to this kind of society? The only reason I had critical thinking was through like the various people I met during my university years.
Right.
I took religious studies, started questioning myself, met Corey after my I was still in university at the time, and I have to say that all cost me $30-some thousand.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Yeah.
You know, and I look at someone that's trying to do their master's. You know, they're in like $80,000 to $100,000 worth of debt. They have to spend they're essentially nowadays people's mortgages. What was back then are now their student loans.
Yeah.
Right.
And the only people that I noticed that would argue for student loans are the ones that whether came from a really wealthy background and were able to go ahead and pay it off. And
yeah,
a lot of people.
It's always, I had to pay it when I was going to school, so now kids now, of course, they should have to do it too.
Yes.
Yeah, but it doesn't scale, right? Like university tuition used to be $1,000 a year, and cost of living was much lower, and you could get a house for, whereas inflation has been whatever it is, 200% since the 70s. Housing prices have gone up, whatever it is, 1,000%. Like it's not.
And
that's right.
And the question is, how can we move towards a more greener, more knowledgeable society when students are coming out of school with crippling debt, and we're putting them now? It's tough to even get a job that, like right away after degree, you want experience. You have these guys thinking about just making minimum payments off a low-paying job. Now they're worried about the first thing they're going to worry about is food, rent, putting a roof over their head.
Yeah,
and that if once you enter that mindset, good luck trying to reduce your carbon footprint.
Right.
It's tough. Like, you don't want to spend most of your time just researching. I'm not going to go out and say this is the solution to climate change. But by far, it's not. But it does. I hope it brings out a different perspective on, like, how personal finance is actually can be a huge detriment when it comes to just different aspects in life.
Well, it definitely gave me a different way to looking at it.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing your expertise.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, do you want to talk about some tunes?
Do I? Okay. Well, it's time for a musical break.
Let's do some music.
Okay. So, because Angela and I took over this week, we're not going to be listening to any metal shit this week.
I cannot vouch for the music that we picked this
Corey had nothing to do with it.
No, we chose some wonderful subversive music this week. Mostly very political.
Very political.
We had some choices. My choice was "Christmas in Washington" by Steve Earle, one of my favorite artists. Really beautiful song. Angela learned me about "White Man in Decline" by Sarah Harmer. I think you guys are going to enjoy this very funny tongue-in-cheek song about a white supremacist who's very hard done by.
Nice.
We Still Need a Song by Hawksley Workman. And the last one is We'll Meet Again by Vera Lynn, which is an oldie from way back in the day. And it might be a little weird. You might be like, why are we playing this? Well, it's actually because it's the song they play in Dr. Strangelove when there's nuclear Armageddon. And we figured with the developments with North Korea, we thought it'd be very appropriate.
But
so,
didn't they also include that song?
Yes. And the British also put that song in, like they included a record of that song in their bunkers when they were building them in World War II era. in their nuclear bunkers, I guess just after World War II. They included that song for everyone, just to uplift everyone's spirits. So, but yeah, they play it in Doctor Strangelove as nuclear Armageddon takes over the world. So it's a great song. So yeah, that's what we got for you, and it's way better than metal.
Well,
I disagree.
We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
The listeners will. They'll love it.
Okay, so this is, I guess, where the outro will go.
Yes.
Put outro here.
Put outro here.
Does anyone want to plug their stuff?
I have my podcast, my other podcast.
Yes.
I haven't put an episode out in a while, but yeah.
Now that you're back from holidays,
I should be able to get back on track.
What's it called again, Corey?
The Hardcore Skeptic Examines. And until this series of interviews is done, it's The Hardcore Skeptic Examines Social Justice.
Nice.
Very nice. All right, we can cue the outro music.
Are you sure?
Yep. Let's do this.
What if I want to plug something?
Oh! Plug something.
Plug away, Dave.
I just want to say, if you're in the Regina area or Saskatoon area, I'll be playing with a pop artist named Xana. Thursday the 24th, I'll be at Flint in Saskatoon. It's a club.
Nice.
And then I'll be here at the Owl on the 25th, hitting the keys and pushing the buttons, all that stuff.
You were going places,
Very
Dave.
nice.
Yeah, and then U of R Welcome Week as well, but I'll plug that next time. So.
Oh, sweet.
Sounds good.
Can't wait.
So that's my thing.
That's a good
Yay,
plug.
Dave.
Now
What was the artist?
Her name's Xana. It's Xana.
Xana.
I was going to make a Xanax joke, but
Yeah, like if you just go to I believe it's just this is Xana.com, like Xana.
Cool.
Nice.
It's all right there. You can buy tickets online for the Owl show, and it's like dark pop. It's kind of a little gritty.
Nice.
Gritty.
Nice. You're doing the audio engineering?
I'm a live DJ performer.
Oh, wow.
Like
Jeez.
I'll be doing the stage.
You're doing the DJ thing.
I am. Yeah, we're planning on touring in October actually, so we might end up in Vancouver and a few places like that.
Holy
so.
shit.
That's super cool.
So yeah,
Right on, man.
she's really good. She's really, really, really good and young and up and coming. So
That is awesome.
it's gonna be
Cool.
Thanks, Dave.
If no one has anything else to plug, let's cue the outro music.
Let's cue it.
It sounds nicer when you say it than when I say it. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'll listen to Angela anytime.
You can check out the show notes at www.thebrainstormpodcast.com and our website, www.brainstormblog.net. Thanks to our financial supporters, Will, Lisa, Rob, Aaron, Nathan, Daryl, Stephanie, Positively Skeptical, Michael, Lachlan, Magnus, and Alden. You can join us live every second week when we broadcast live on Spreaker. You can find us at It's hard to say all those W's. Spreaker.com
I really
/user/brainstorm podcast.
Fuck the W's.
Fuck the W's. Next time we are teaming up with the Packard Pokesad podcast.
Yeah.
For a special episode. We look forward to that. Please tune in. Thanks, Will, Ian, and Basit for joining us. Will and Basit don't really have an online presence, but you can find his work, Ian's work at bchumanist.ca and politicoast.ca. We'll put a link in the show notes at the Brainstorm blog, brainstormpodcast.net. Let's try that. The notes are going to be on brainstormblog.net, and they're a work in progress. Thank you to Dave for our intro music. Thanks to Alex Capper-Murdoch for doing the voiceover for the intro and for some of our ads. And thanks to Jason Como for our outro music. Corey's laughing at me because now he's not the only one. You can find his stuff over at aloststateofmind.com. All music is played either with permission or under the SOCAN license to play. For more information on SOCAN, you can check out the music license info page on our website, brainstormblog.net. I think that's everything, so give us a rating and a thumbs up or a fave on your podcatcher of choice. Join our Facebook group, like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter. Share the show and spread the word.
You're drunk.
You're doing a great job.
So tired. Thanks for listening, everybody, and remember, the truth matters.
And is out there.
Is also out there. And it matters.
Note taken from the astrophysicist.
Trademark.
This is an opinion-based podcast. Each person on the podcast is responsible for their own opinions, and those opinions don't necessarily reflect the views of the rest of the panel. Any guests or anyone associated with the people on the podcast, such as spouses, partners, children, other family members, friends, or employers. No one person speaks for the podcast with the possible exception of Corey, and he doesn't speak for anyone else on the show. The Brainstorm podcast does not represent the views of our sponsors.
We just wanted to say thanks to everyone who listens to us, shares the show, gives us a rating on iTunes or Stitcher, or supports us through Patron and Gumroad. We don't have a lot of interaction sometimes with our listeners, but what we have had proves that we attract some of the best people around. Smart, kind, and cool. An audience truly worthy of the titles hardcore and woo-free. Thanks for helping us make the world a smarter place.